Hey, so guess what? This is my fourth take on doing a video I wanted to talk to you about my experience with Grandmaster Hsin Chin, and hoping that after the fourth take, this is going to turn out alright. Why did it take 4 takes? Beats me. Mainly because I've been rambling and trying to give you an in-depth experience of what I experienced in 7 days, and after about 110 hours of work, it's not easy to put into a short video. So here goes. I'm going to try again. Walking my dog and thinking it through. I should write everything down and then relay it all back to you, but I'm just not that type of guy to do these things. So I'll set it all off the cuff, see how it goes. Anyway, so you guys already know my history. You know I've had over 50 years experience. I started in 1971, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've worked all these years of security. So I'm saying all this is because, you know, I've had, few masters in my life, and, I've learned different types. I've had different types of mentalities from different masters, and I'm not going to speak badly about anybody because there's nothing bad to say, in the sense that I've had great value from everybody I learned from, okay? And I've got the experiences that I was looking for, and also I got the experiences that I wanted because I chose the directions that I look for in my life, which I hope it's the experiences that you're looking for in your own life, right? I've got people, who are my virtual friends that I hope to meet one day, those that choose to do competition, that teach combat and competition, or, or that do, or maybe they did what I did, work very deeply in security, or that do it for a passion. Whatever your experience is, that's up to you. I'm never one to judge anybody, right? But I'm going to be 58 in a few months, and I took the advice of somebody important to me who decided to invite me, who knows Grandmaster Hsin Chin personally. They decided to invite me to this retreat, and so therefore I was a little bit of the outcast to this established group. I knew nothing, or very little, of really how they worked, and not knowing what was going to happen or the way they worked, I thought, how would they see me, or how would I see them? First of all, before I talk about Grandmaster Hsin Chin, I'll tell you a little bit about the structure of the school. First of all, the school in itself is very, very well structured, and they're very well organized. They have a really good, precise grading system, and it's to be respected because, I've been in very well structured grading systems as well. But this is really well precise. It's structured in such a way that it helps you understand antique methodologies of Kung Fu. It goes back years of study. Possibly, I believe, it goes back to the antique studies of Shaolin. And it teaches you straight away, deep studies of the Tao, yin yang, teaches you how to connect that to your body, and it teaches you how to connect it to, development of the mind, and it teaches you how to connect it to development of the movement, straight from the first lesson. And basically that enhances your body development, and from the word go. And it's all in books as well. And this structure, Grandmaster Hsin Chin and his son Hsin Chin and I believe also his personal family, the rest of his family, had developed the structure in, I think, in college or university. Not sure if it was college or university in America. And I believe that maybe the structure is also in China. And if I'm not wrong, there were maybe one or two high-ranking Wing Chun masters that studied under him. But I'm not sure about that. That's what I heard. And his technique is really, really good. You know, he has a really good pressure. And so that's just off the cuff. All right, so I can tell you that's for sure. So I really liked that about the school. When I met Grandmaster Hsin Chin, in a way it was like meeting somebody that I already knew. And it's like meeting someone who, as soon as he sees you, he's sort of like worked you out already. Which is sort of like the experience I have when you work in the door already. You already know if this guy's going to cause you trouble, or if that guy's going to be okay, or if, you know, when you're doing personal selection. So, you know, it's like as soon as he saw me, you know, it's like he recognized if I was going to be okay or not. And going into uncharted territory, the last thing I'm going to do is go break anybody's balls or try and be a top gun or try and hassle anybody. You know, that I'm there to learn and try to understand, which is honestly what I was there for. Okay, so I was pretty illuminated because the structure not only goes and looks at improving you physically and improving your technical application, if you want to look at it that way, because I believe what he teaches you in the Li Kuan and also in the Zhong Xin Dao can improve all my cross-training in Wing Chun, can improve it no end, or certainly give me a mental perspective where I can improve the quality of what I'm doing, you know, tenfold. I have no doubt about that. So that in itself is worth studying. And it certainly helps me look at the what I was already studying at the a bit, you know, a lot more in depth, the biomechanical structure of what I was doing on a much deeper level. What he teaches you also is to have a much deeper awareness of all your motor structures on a much deeper level. And it's good because, you know, if you look at the Wing Chun world, you know, sometimes you have these phenomenons, these masters who are selling, you know, motors, or they're selling this or engines and stuff like that, as if they're selling off pieces, you know, or components. They use special secret motors. When, you know, personally, I always thought that was a lot of bullshit. And whereas, you know, he just explains it to you, A, B, C, D, it all connects like this, blah, 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 blah. From day one, lesson one, you know, it all connects like this is where you go. And, you know, from grade one, you just flow into the lesson two. And, you know, it just connects straight away. So there's no bullshitting around, there's no crap, there's no sales approach, there's no, hey, if you do this, you get some ultimate secrets. You know, there's no magical, you know, hands here or there. You know, it's like, it's just very clear cut. It's a proper school. And, you know, and to top it off, he really is a very humble person. You know, he doesn't boast to be anything. You know, he doesn't boast to be the top anything. Whereas, you know, when you touch hands with him, you know he's good. He and his son were good enough to listen to my story. He said, "So, what's your story?" And I said, "Okay, so, well, I can come and talk to you?" And he goes, "Sure, sure." So I sat at the table with him and his son. And I don't know, I think he listened to me maybe, 45 minutes? And I think maybe I traumatized them with with my life story, certain problematics I had with political attitudes that I didn't like within the martial arts community, and how I decided to go on my own, and what I was deeply passionate about, and what I believed in was the right attitude. Well, at least what I did what I did personally in my life to improve myself as a martial artist, and then pass it on to my students. And then obviously I said, look, listening to the things he was teaching, I said, I'm not on the level he is, obviously. I couldn't teach things on an internal level, because he was talking about things on I think it was a macrocosmical, energetical level with the universe, and then connecting it with the yin and yang on an internal level. I said, I'm not that deep. I said, I can't teach these things. I said, but, if people hassle me and, attack me on my physical being, my physical essence, I teach my students how to deal with that reality on a combat level, as far as instinctive survival is concerned. And and he said, that's fine. He said, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So, they gave me a deep breath of release, of consolation, because it meant a lot. When you get to know him and when he says things, it's very hard to say on a video, but you have to honestly get to understand him, to understand how when he says something to you, it actually means a lot, because he does have so much knowledge to share. So coming from him, it really meant a lot to me. Because when you get to understand how much knowledge he has, interior knowledge he has, and how much he really has to share, I honestly, I've never met a teacher like him to this date that has that much knowledge. And yet, I've only, spent, a week with him. But in my personal conversation, I said, look, I'll be honest with you, right? I said, been doing this 52 years, and the person who recommended to me, I know him very well, and he said that you're good. I said, I've seen you move, and I'm not stupid. I know you're good. So, I hope you don't mind me staying here, for a week or whatever. I think it was day 2 when I talked to him. And I said, I'd be honoured to continue listening to you, and, and honestly, in the future, I'd still be happy to continue studying under him. Not necessarily because I want to change my way of doing Wing Chun or changing all my cross-training that I interacted, and combined with my Wing Chun. I'll still keep doing that. But his Li Kuan and Zhong Xin Dao definitely has something to offer, be it internally and also internally on a mental level, which is probably 90% of what I'm looking for. But also on a biomechanical level, it's understanding the power of the circles, the way he does it and the way he teaches it, or the way his instructors teaches it, including his son and the instructors that were there from New York and his assistants, was just excellent, was just really excellent. And with the humility that they teach it, I had an experience. I'll tell you this story to make you understand the type of humility. It just really blew me away. We were in the seminar, and we had a break, and then one guy asked his son, Hsin Chin, he says, hey, why don't you, and I'll just say this because probably might sound a little bit embarrassing, but anyway, he said, why don't you give your perspective on how that technique's done, And his son refused because it was his father's perspective. And it was his father who was running the show, and it was his father who was doing the teachings, And he said, who am I to step in and contradict my father? Something to that effect. I was really shocked. I mean, because it's his son saying this, and I thought that was so humbling. It just deeply affected me, because, it could have been another guy's son who says, hey, yeah, I could do that. I could say my own point of view. I've got rights to say my point of view. Why shouldn't I say it? Yeah, I got my rights. Instead, he was really humble, It just blew me away so much because his son's pretty young. I think he's, about 25 maybe? I had to say to him, I said, look, can I just say something to you? I said, that was a perfect answer. Can I just interrupt? I just realised that my dog found a massive bone of a dead animal and shouldn't be taken around in his mouth. Nicky, no, Matthew, no, let it go, no, Russia, no, bye. Okay, got away from it. Go, bye, dear. Okay, sorry about that. And, yeah. What have I missed out in this conversation? We're over 17 minutes now. What have I missed out? Did I have a confrontation, physical confrontation? Look, can I be honest? I'll say, yeah, I did. Was I tested? Yeah, he tested me. And, I know this story. I know that he was good enough to shift a couple of high-ranking masters around. This is the story that I was told. He didn't shift me around. I was good enough to stand on my own 2 feet. And, we didn't exchange blows. It was purely, shifting each other, and we were able to throw blows at each other without hitting each other. I don't know how to explain it. It was really good, from my perspective, really, really good Chisao. And he just gave me the highest compliments. And I think I got the biggest ego boost I ever had in my life. And he said to the person that invited me in front of everyone, he says, hey, he's a really tough guy, very tough. Man, and I said to the person who invited me, I said, man, I think I can retire tonight and never do martial arts again. I've come to the ultimate, and that was my ego boost, and standing my ground was good, but I'm just not at his level as far as mind is concerned, as far as anything else is concerned. I'm just miles and miles and miles and miles and kilometers below him. And the only thing he said to me, which was a compliment, and I guess he said it not to make me feel like I'd wasted, my life away, which I don't think I have, is that he said, what you've been able to achieve, on a combat level, on a Chisao level, is because it's a bit like, I guess, what he meant by the Zen philosophy, that you touch, you go directly into it. I'm not sure what part of the Zen attitude this is, but, you touch directly, you have the direct experience. Not many people are able to do that because not many people are willing to take that plunge. And instead, that's what I did most of my life. I always took this direct plunge into taking that risk, direct risk. And there's a very, very small percent of people that are willing to do that. I'm not considering myself special or anything like that, but you know, that's probably the only reason. And that's why I was able to interact, only for that reason there. But it's that risk that I took that is what I use to help my students. That's all. That's the only difference. But if it's what's helped me to get better, then fine. I'll continue using that. But having said that, right, it's good and it's not good. Why is it good and why it's not good? It's good because I can use it to help my students. They can feel whatever I've learned, I give it back to them, and they are learning from it, and that's great. It's not good because you're not completely mentally conscious of what you're doing, and therefore it's not always easy to replicate or explain back exactly what you're doing. Does that make sense? So it's like, yeah, do this, do this, do this. You explain it, you show the physicality of it, and a lot of guys can go say, oh yeah, I get it, I feel that, I can do that. And physical transmission is okay, but verbal transmission is very important as well. And verbal transmission, so you can verbally understand what's going on, is important for a teacher as well. So, you know, it's not enough to physically transmit. If you want to be a good teacher, and I really believe this as well, you have to verbally understand what you're doing yourself before you can also teach it. So, you know, that's what I've been working on for a long time, regardless. And having worked with Grandmaster Hsin Chin, we worked on a lot of meditation and becoming aware, completely aware of ourselves. And of consequence, when we started to work on the programs that he teaches, you become very aware of how the body works. And, you know, you could almost say on a scientific level. When I finished and I came back to Italy, look, 2 days into teaching, all of a sudden my students just started improving automatically, just through the type of teachings that I learnt from Grandmaster Hsin Chin. I replicated it straight away, either through boxing techniques or through Wing Chun techniques, you name it. I was already teaching these types of methodologies through other systems of fighting, you know. So I don't know how much I've rambled on, or if there were other things that I've missed out. I've talked a lot about him, talked about a lot about his system, the way he teaches us, about his philosophy, about where it's taught, be it in America, in colleges, in university, and that he is a very capable fighter. I think he's great. I mean, I think he's close to 70 years old, so, and he's tough. He's tough. He's a tough guy, right? I don't know too many 70-year-olds that are tough like him. You know, and you got to realize he was holding back, right? So, you know, he's pretty tough. You know, he's the real deal. And let me conclude. This is what I was saying. He really touches you in the heart. That's what I forgot to say, and I should have said that in the beginning. He really touches you in the heart. There were times during the seminar, seriously, now I'm going to let my guard down, my emotional guard down, but there's a couple of times I cried because he really hits home on an emotional level. And so he hit a few emotional chords, and don't know what to say. Not many teachers, well, no teachers ever done that with me. So, guy I've never met was able to do that as well. Not sure how to say it. I think I already said it. It was like Miyagi but times 1,000. There you go. That was my experience with Grandmaster Hsin Chin and meeting his community. They were all very friendly, beautiful people. His son, I hope to meet them again. I passed my initial grading, and I'd be happy to continue following their school and still maintain my structure that I've always had. Yeah, hopefully I'll become a little bit more wiser and less stupid in the future. Okay guys, that's it. Hope I haven't bored you guys to death. Ciao ciao.